In a world full of false prophets, junk mail, and Nigerian prince scams, you can always rely on one thing. The octave and a half scale, also known as the Rossini Arpeggio, and also known as the octave and a half arpeggio. Call it whatever you want, but as a voice teacher, I rely on the Rossini Arpeggio as one of my most effective go-to exercises for vocal lessons on a daily basis. In fact, nearly every lesson I've taken and given has started off with the super helpful octave and a half arpeggio. Here's my last one.
Exactly.
But up until recently, I didn't know a whole lot about the history behind this incredibly helpful arpeggio, and more specifically, why it helps students sing better. So I turned to my good friend and fellow YouTuber David Bennett to talk a little bit about the history and the music theory behind this helpful arpeggio.
The Rossini scale is a vocal exercise seemingly developed by the composer Gioachino Rossini, the same Rossini who composed this. The Rossini scale is not really a scale, but more a pair of arpeggios. The Rossini scale ascends up a major chord arpeggio, and then descends down a dominant chord built on the fifth degree. So, for example, in C major, we ascend up a C major triad, and then descend down a G dominant 7, finally resolving to the root note at the end. Now, this sequence of notes makes for a good vocal exercise for two reasons. First of all, it features a range of different intervals, including major thirds, minor thirds, major seconds, and a perfect fourth. And the entire exercise spans an octave and a half. So, in a very concise way, the Rossini scale provides a range of challenges for a vocalist. But also, the melody of the Rossini scale is a very complete and satisfying sound. Because the Rossini scale is such a pure sounding melody, such a resolved sounding piece, it makes it very clear if it's being sung out of tune, meaning the exercise is a good indicator of a vocalist's accuracy. The Rossini scale sounds so satisfying and complete because this 2-bar figure is a perfectly well-rounded example of functional harmony. The first bar functions to set up the key by outlining the root chord, the tonic. And the second bar then introduces tension with the dominant chord. This tension then resolves neatly when the final note of the melody lands on the root note, tying everything up in a neat, well-rounded tune.
So now you understand a little bit more about the history and the music theory that makes up this helpful arpeggio. But why is the Rossini scale so darn popular now, and why is it so helpful in getting you to sing better? Well, in recent years, this 19th century arpeggio has had a kind of resurrection in our popular culture because it's been used so much by one of the contemporary masters of voice teaching, and that is, of course, the founder of speech-level singing, Seth Riggs. Not only is this arpeggio super popular within speech-level singing, but lots of other techniques that are based off of it use it as well. But the reason that this octave and a half arpeggio works so well is actually built right into the arpeggio itself. The voice doesn't like change. It wants to keep everything the same. And just like the rest of our bodies, the voice tries to maintain some homeostasis. What that translates to in singing is that if you're starting off by singing with too much chest voice in the bottom part of your voice, then you're probably going to bring that up to the top part of your voice as well. Until you break. The idea behind this arpeggio is almost like a pressure cooker. When your voice is under a lot of pressure, the notes will start to kind of bunch up next to each other, and the changes in your vocal cord coordinations will become smaller and smaller, and you're not going to be able to make the changes that you need to in order to ascend higher. And using the pressure cooker analogy, this arpeggio is basically like releasing the pressure on each one of those notes rather than letting them build up against each other. And other singers are so light and breathy that they continue to sing that way all the way up to the top part of their voice. Until they break. This idea is almost like a leaky tire. So if you're starting kind of by leaking air at the bottom part of your voice, what's going to happen as you get up to the top part of your voice? You're going to be running on empty. Now, the beauty behind the octave and a half arpeggio is that it allows each one of those notes to build on top of the last one. Whatever your tendency, this arpeggio is going to encourage your voice to change because of all of the jumps by the minor and major thirds, the perfect fourth, as well as the major seconds. Not to mention that with over an octave of range, an octave and a half of range, in fact, this arpeggio is going to help you expand your range very, very quickly. So in a way, this arpeggio kind of tricks you into making the changes that you need to make as a singer to improve your voice. And these days, of course, every singer is like in an arms race to sing higher and better and expand their vocal range more than the next singer. Unfortunately, many vocalists think that if they can just push their voice hard enough, that that's actually the key to expanding their range. It's not. Most of the time, what vocalists need is an exercise that helps them make those transitions in their voice without actually straining their voice. And the octave and a half arpeggio helps them do that. I should also point out that this arpeggio is amazing for helping you navigate those breaks in your voice without any big changes in quality. One of the hardest things that you could probably do would be to do a siren on an ooh exercise without breaking. For instance, if I was trying to ooh, that's because you have to sing right through your vocal break. But instead, with the Rossini arpeggio, you usually have like a nice little interval transition that you kind of comfortably disguise that transition in your voice, which allows you to start making it sound like as if there isn't one at all. That's why you'll see this Rossini arpeggio used with so many different vocal exercises. Lip trills, gee gee gees, nae nae naes. It's because that arpeggio is such a workhorse that you can use it on lots of different vocal exercises and you're still going to help you improve your voice. It's just that versatile. And no matter what exercise you choose to do the Rossini arpeggio on, it's going to transition you from the bottom up to the top part of your voice and back on down, no matter what. Now, instead of just talking about this octave and a half arpeggio or the Rossini arpeggio, whatever you'd like to call it, let's actually use it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a few exercises that you can use in your own voice. We're going to start off with the lip trill. And in the lip trill, basically, you're just taking your two fingers, placing them in the middle of your cheeks and allowing your lips to flop together. Like this. Now, we're going to do that on the octave and a half arpeggio like this. And by the way, I have to cheat and just do it without my fingers because I'm playing the piano. However, I want you to use the fingers as you do this. It is so, so very helpful. And you have to push way less air. Let's do it here for guys. One more. So right there, I'm just going from a C3 up to a G4 right above my first break, and I'm making it through there without any dramatic changes in sound quality. Let's do the same thing for ladies. Ladies, let's start right here on G3, going up to a D5 on top. Wonderful. Okay, great. Now that your voice is a little bit warmed up, let's start to open our mouth slightly and start to do some more open mouth exercises on this arpeggio. In this case, again, we'll start down here on the B flat 2, and we're just going to sing that on gee, like the word geese. I myself am going to try this a little bit yawny, just kind of a little bit goofy, gee, gee, gee. This you'll often find is very, very helpful for singers that really push towards the top part of their voice, but do it however feels comfortable for you. Gee, 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 gee. Again, not going for any changes in sound quality. So gee, 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 gee is not what we're going for. Gee, 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 gee. Do the same thing here. Gee, 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 gee. Ladies, let's do the same thing right here. Might sound a little bit funnier in my voice compared to yours, but again, you're trying to get that really, really clear and really, really kind of spoken sound on each one of those. Just like you're saying the word gee, 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 sometimes a little yawny, gee, 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 like a gee, 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 gee. Gee, 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 gee. Gee, 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 gee. Awesome job. Now let's finish off with one of my absolute favorite exercises. This is especially useful in helping singers learn how to belt their singing voice much better. And of course, you probably already know what I'm going to talk about. It is the octave and a half kind of Bratty Nae, like you're saying nasty. So in my voice, it'd be like a na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Ladies, we can do the same thing right here. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. And remember, keep it really, really funny as you're doing that. That will allow the vocal cords to continue closing evenly, even through your quote-unquote vocal break. You are going to be so amazed at how much your voice improves when you start using this very, very simple octave and a half arpeggio. I just want to thank David Bennett again for his amazing contribution to this class, and thank you guys so much for watching.